Hello everyone, welcome back to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at the Penderwicks At Last, chapter 19, Dancing in the Dark. Well, this chapter starts with Lydia being really frustrated. No one is listening to her. Rosalind promised that her sisters would listen to her if she agreed to choreograph this procession, but none of them are even paying attention. Oh, sorry, no one's listening. And the reason is because most of them are playing soccer. Dusek's family and Sky and Jane and some of the grooms, not Tommy, but maybe his brother. And then his brother has kids. Everyone's just running around. The dogs are running around. Everyone's playing soccer, except for maybe Jeffrey and Batty and Alec. And they just can't hear or pay attention to Lydia's orders. So finally, Alice says, Lydia, do you want me to get their attention? Do you need help? And Lydia's like, yes, please. She says, okay, Dad said I could only do this in emergencies. And she just makes this crazy, I don't know, I can't make this sound. This crazy sound that sounds like a bald eagle, but no one knows what it is. And so everyone just stops. The kids, the little kids that are running around, start crying. Oh, boy! They think some monster's coming. Everyone's like, what? And they look over at Alice, and everyone's just like, whoa. And then Lydia says, hey, enough playing. We got to get ready for practice. You can watch if you want, but sisters, we need to do this. And so then they start practicing. They start practicing for this dance that Lydia set up. It's really simple. It's really nice. Sky has a little problem with it, but everything becomes okay. Rehearsal's over. Things are looking good. So everyone goes to their own place for the evening, and Lydia goes back to find Alice. She finds Alice with Wesley and Hitch, and Alice is kind of talking about the rehearsal. And Wesley's listening really carefully, and he's having Alice tell some of the details. And Wesley kind of stops them when they start talking about Batty and Jeffrey. Like, oh, Batty was dancing? I've never seen Batty dance before. And then Lydia and Alice like, oh yeah, Batty was dancing with Jeffrey, and it was like this. And then so Lydia and Alice kind of show Wesley how they were dancing, and Wesley's like, oh man, he's just kind of thinking deeply with this information. Finally, he decides to do something. We don't know what, but he says, girls, I need to make a phone call. How about walking the dog? And the girl's like, yeah, we'll walk the dog. So they go take Hitch, and they're just walking and having fun. And then something happens in Lydia. Lydia's thinking like, oh, the wedding's going to be over in 3 more days. And then she starts feeling this like sadness. And the reason is she's already feeling homesick for Arendelle. She hasn't left yet, but just imagining leaving makes her feel sad. And so she just gets this struck with this kind of sense of sadness. And that's how the chapter ends. Vocabulary. There's a few vocabulary words here that we need to look at. The first one is infectious. Infectious can have 2 meanings. One, that means like some virus or bacteria can get inside of it and get in there easily. It can also mean that something can be transferred very easily. For example, a smile. No, not that kind of smile. A smile, right? You're smiling, and then other people are like, oh, yeah. And they want to smile too. Laughter. If one of your friends starts laughing, then you start to feel, why are we laughing? And you start laughing too. So certain things, we call them infectious. They can be transferred very easily, like a cold or like an infection. A Nazgul. This is what Ben thinks is coming when they hear Alice's cry. A Nazgul is just this kind of like ghost monster in the Lord of the Rings. If you read The Lord of the Rings, you might know what this creature is. Arbor is kind of like a wooden arch. Here's an example of one. This is a long one. This is a big one. But there can also be small ones that are just like gates. And the sisters are going to walk through one or walk by one during their procession. This word you probably already know, but maybe the spelling of it, maybe it's hard to pronounce or read, but it is bouquet. It's a French word, and bouquet just means like a bundle of flowers, which you probably already know, but that's how you spell bouquet. Dispersed. Dispersed means to slowly become less and less and less. So when Lydia starts to announce that it's practice time, all the people start to disperse. The families start to go their separate ways and go different places. And then there's just the sisters and Jeffrey and Alec. We can also think of like gas dispersing. I can't think of a good example, but let's say cigarette smoke. When I blow out, you can see the cigarette smoke really easily. But then after a while, the smoke disperses, and that's why it's gone. Trudged. This has a feeling of, imagine if there was a lot of snow on the ground, and then you're walking through the snow from one place to another. You can't just walk, la 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 la. You have to kind of push, trudge. It has this feeling of being tired. And this is how Lydia feels. After the rehearsal, she's walking back to Alice, and she's trudging along. There's no snow or anything, but this just kind of giving you the feeling of how she's walking. Lost Horizon. This one is where Wesley has kind of two meanings. One, when someone's just kind of looking in the distance, and you, what? Sorry. Maybe they were lost somewhere. But for Wesley, it has two meanings because he lost Batty. And so maybe he's thinking of, what would it have been like if I stayed with Batty? Or what if I did something different? What if I stayed? Would Batty come back to me? But she's lost. He thinks, right? Because Batty and Jeffrey are suddenly so close. A discussion question I have for you is, what would you do if someone you liked was going to start dating someone else? So we can imagine Wesley, right? He probably still likes Batty. He wanted Batty to go with him to California, and Batty said no. But now this woman, or this young woman that he likes, is really close to this other guy. And he might lose her forever. What if that was you? Maybe a boy or a girl. What would you do? I don't know. Let's talk about it next time we meet. And of course, please write your own discussion question. We want to know what you're thinking about while you're reading the book. Write it in the comments so that way we have time to prepare an answer for the question. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. Bye-bye. Hey, if you have any questions about the video today, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you had any other vocabulary words that you wanted to know what they meant, let me know. And also, if you're interested in maybe joining one of these book clubs, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.